Hi guys, you all are welcome to my channel. My name is Tessie and today we are going to be making this dress. If you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. So for this tutorial, I'll be making use of this fabric. It is called a silk duchess and I have 3.5 yards of fabric, and I'll also be making use of the feathers for the sleeve. I also have 3 yards for this. So let's get into the cutting video. So I folded my fabric into two. Now to know the amount of fabric to fold, you're going to be taking your hip measurement divided by 4, then you add 2 or 3 inches extra. So what I'll do next is to chalk my starting point. Please, you need to take note, we're cutting for the back. So this will serve as my shoulder line. So I'll take my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which gave me 8 inches. Then from that point, I came down to my armhole line, which is 9 inches. I went ahead to connect it into a straight line. So what I'll do next is to take from my shoulder to my waist. So from the shoulder to the waist is 17 inches. So I'm just going to chalk my 17 inches and connect it into a straight line. So what I'll be doing next is taking my hip line. So from that waist, I chalked 9 inches for my hip line. Then I connected it into a straight line. The next thing to do is to chalk the length of the gown. So from the shoulder, you chalk how long you want it to be. For me, I'm just going to be working with what I have here. So I have like 49 inches thereabout. So I'll work with what I have. So what I'll be doing next is working on the neckline area. So for the back, I'm going to be using 3 by 1.5. So I used 3 by 1.5. Then I connected the lines together. Then on the shoulder area, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'll connect to the neckline. Then I'll check what I have at that chest line area. Whatever you have, divide it into two. Then on that chest line area, you place your bust measurement divided by 4. Then you add like 1 inch for ease. Then I'll be adding extra 2 inches for sewing allowance. So what I'll do next is just carve out my back armhole. So I curved my armhole as you can see. Then on the waistline area, I'm going to be taking my waist measurement divided by 4. I'm going to add extra 1 inch for ease and 2 inches for my sewing allowance. Then I'll connect from the chest line to the waistline. So on my hip line, I'm going to be placing my hip measurement divided by 4, and I added 1 inch for ease and also 2 inches for sewing allowance. So I'll be connecting from the waistline to the hip line. So go ahead, connect from your waist to the hip. So from the hip line, you can just go straight down, but I want mine to be penciled. So what I'll do is check what I have at that hip line area and I'll minus 2 from it. Then I'll check it at the down part. Then I'll be connecting from the hip line to that point. So guys, we are done with the back. I'll go ahead now to cut out my fabric. So when cutting the shoulder area, you have to leave like ½ inch for joining allowance at the top. So guys, for the front, I folded my fabric into two. What I'll do is to leave some inches out before placing the back. But before doing that, I'll chalk my starting point. So what I'll do next is to chalk 5 inches. So you chalk 5 inches or you could use 3 inches. It all depends on how wrapped you want it to be. So I chalked 5 inches and I'm going to chalk it all the way down to the length of the dress. After doing that, I connected it into a straight line. Then I placed my back on the front, as you can see. So after placing my back on the front, this is what it looks like. So what I'll do next is to cut out my fabric. So I'll go ahead now to cut out my fabric. So just watch what I'm doing. Please guys, if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly do that and let's get right back into the video. So what I'll do next is at that waistline area, I'm just going to connect the line all the way down. So go ahead, connect your line from that waistline area. So what I'll do next is at the neckline area, that's this point, I'm just going to be connecting from this neckline all the way down. So I'm just going to take out my back so that you understand. So from this point, I'll connect all the way down to this point. So you could use your curve ruler depending on the curve you want it to have. For me, I'm just using my free hand, then I'll curve it a bit. So after doing that, what we'll be doing next is taking out the back. So we don't need the back anymore. I'm just going to take it out. Then what I'll do is from this point, I'm just going to come in by 4 inches. So you come in by 4 inches. After coming in by 4 inches, from this point, I'll connect all the way down to that 4 inches. So you give it a curve. You could use your curve ruler, but I'm just using my free hand to curve from that point all the way down to the 4 inches line. So I'm just trying to blend my lines. So guys, after curving, this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead now to cut out my pattern. So guys, we are done with the front. So guys, this is what it looks like. So I have two pieces for the front. So when you open it up, you place it this way. So this is how it will look. So guys, what we'll be doing next is cutting out the sleeve. So I folded my fabric into two and I chalked the starting point. After that, I chalked the length of my sleeve. So for me, I'm going to be making use of 26 inches, which I chalked and connected into a straight line. So I used my free hand to curve out my armhole. Then at the down part, I took my wrist measurement and placed it there. Then what I did next was to connect the lines together. So go ahead, cut out your sleeve. So after cutting it out, this is what it looks like. So I folded my fabric and cut out the second sleeve. So what you need to do is just cut out your sleeve the way you normally cut out a sleeve. So after cutting out the sleeve, we are done with the sleeve. So now what I'll be doing is working on the front part. I'm just going to be using my bias to pipe the neckline area and the down part as well. So you could cut out a facing, use your bias, or even use an Amy gum. But for me, I'm going to be making use of bias. I'll also do the same thing for the neckline for the back as well. So guys, after using my bias, you can see this is how it looks like. It's looking very neat. So what I'll do next is to give it a very good press. So go ahead, give it a very good press and you're good to go. So after ironing, I'm just going to be placing the front and the back together this way. So go ahead, place your front and your back together. Then after placing them, I'll be stitching at that shoulder area by half inch all the way down. Then for the sleeve, I'll be attaching feathers to it. So at the down part, I'm just going to use my Amy gum to fold this part neatly. I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve as well. You could just stitch or you fold. So after using my Amy gum, this is what it looks like as you can see. So what I'll be doing next is attaching my feathers. So for the feathers, I'm going to be placing the feathers on the down part of the sleeve. So you cut it layer by layers. So I'll be using my gum for it. That's my gum. Then what I'll do is just place it in, then I'll place the gum on the satin part of the feathers. Then I'm just going to gum it on the down part of the fabric. So guys, make sure you're doing it very neatly. I suggest you use this gum because it makes your work very neat. And make sure when you're attaching your feathers, you're leaving space for sewing allowance at the sides. So I wanted my feathers very full, so I keep coming till I got what I wanted for the first sleeve. So guys, this is what the first sleeve looks like after attaching the feathers. So I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve as well. After doing that, this is what we have for our sleeves. As you can see, once you fold it into two, this is what it will look like. So guys, what I'll be doing next is attaching my sleeve to my dress. So I'll go ahead now to open up my dress. Then on that shoulder line, I'll place my sleeve. I've notched the middle part of my sleeve, as you can see. So I'm just going to place my sleeve on the shoulder area. Then I'll be stitching all the way down to this armhole. Then I'll stitch all the way down to this point as well. So I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve as well. I'll place my sleeve, then I'll run a stitch all the way down to this point and all the way down to this other point. So after doing all of that, this is what it looks like, as you can see. So what I'll do next is to quickly pin my fabrics together. So go ahead, pin your fabrics together. After pinning my fabrics together, what I'll do is to shape. So I'll go ahead now to shape in my dress. So go ahead, take in your measurement and shape in the dress. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut out my rope. As you can see, I have two pieces of the rope. So what I'll do is to attach my rope on that front part. That's this sharp part. You attach a rope on this side as well. So you have to do it very neatly. So you could weave this part. You could weave it or fold it neatly. Then you attach the rope on each of the side for the front. So after attaching the rope, you need to make a small opening that the rope will pass. So depending on where you want the opening to be. So let's say you want the opening to be on this side of the pattern, you open it up and then you bring out the rope from this side. So guys, this is the final result, and I'm so sorry I didn't show the video of how to tie it this way. The dress can be tied in two ways. That you can tie it as a wrap gown like this, then you can tie it the other way. What you just need to do is to twist before tying, just twist your hand and tie it at the front part. Hope you understand what I just said and hope this tutorial was helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe, like the video and comment. Bye.